What's up, what's up? Welcome back to the Rat Cave. Ratzi for DJKit. Guys, the day has come. Rekordbox users, celebrate, rejoice. The day has come. Pioneer DJ have just announced the brand new DDJ FLX-10, Flex 10. Never know what to say. But guys, look, here it is. It's the obvious new updated replacement for the DDJ 1000. Of course, you know, the Flex 4 was the replacement for the 400. Makes me think that obviously we're going to be seeing a Flex 8 at some point, which will probably replace the 800. But anyway, guys, in this video, I want to talk about this try and hold my excitement in about it as much as possible, because I'm really running the risk of just losing it over this. But the main sort of attraction of this new Flex 10 is Rekordbox have now introduced, finally, their version of stems. So we saw stems with Serato. I know that we've seen it on Algorithms DJ, we've seen it on Virtual DJ, all that jazz. But, you know, regular watchers of this YouTube channel will know that I am actually a Rekordbox user. I'm also a mashup DJ. I've been waiting for Rekordbox to release stems, their version of stems. It's here, guys, and it's being announced. It's now available with this DDJ FLX-10. I should say though, Rekordbox or Pioneer DJ, they're not actually calling it stems, they're calling it part separation or part isolation. There's loads of stuff to talk about. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a quick first look overview of this DDJ Flex 10, but I'm mostly going to be concentrating on this part separation, Rekordbox's version of stems, basically. So fresh off the bat, I should say actually that this DDJ Flex 10 is compatible with both Rekordbox and Serato. So, you know, brilliant dual compatibility. We saw it on the other Flex models. Now it's here on this DDJ Flex 10. What I am going to be doing in this video is a quick first look and overview of the controller itself, but I am going to be using this with Rekordbox because, I mean, guys, you know, as good as it still is, I don't want to take anything away from stems, but we've seen so many videos and so much stuff on Serato stems. I want to use this DDJ Flex 10 and show you what it can do with the part track separation or whatever Rekordbox are calling it on Rekordbox rather than using it with Serato. So that's how this video is going to go. Let's get into it. So first things first, let's have a quick little look at the controller. Now this doesn't look far off from the DDJ 1000. Obviously this has replaced the DDJ 1000, and in true Pioneer DJ form, I feel like when one of their products is an update from the last one, for example, I always use the CDJ 3000, when that replaced the CDJ 2000 Nexus 2, there was enough upgrades on it, there was enough different features on it, but not so much that it wasn't completely different from its predecessor. So if you are used to the DDJ 1000, or even if you're used to be fair, the DDJ 800 or any of the new Flex range, you are going to be right at home on this DDJ Flex 10. The big difference between the two is obviously this is dual compatible with Rekordbox and Serato. We didn't have that on the DDJ 1000, but I'm actually going to stop myself there because I am going to do a separate video comparing this Flex 10 head to head with the DDJ 1000, which I will link in the description of this video. But in a nutshell, this DDJ Flex 10 is a 4-channel controller. It's got a standalone mixer, which is DVS compatible, which is all ready to go in Rekordbox. It's DVS compatible in Serato as well, but you do have to pay for the upgrade, the DVS upgrade in Serato DJ Pro. Everything is laid out in Pioneer DJ's club standard kind of layout. You know, you've got your trim, 3-band EQ on all 4 channels. You've got your color effects down here and then your beat effects down here. The beat effects, I'm pretty sure, are the same beat effects that we saw on the DDJ 1000, so nothing too new there. And you've got the effects knob down here and then the level depth and turning the effects on down this right-hand corner, where we see on Pioneer's club standard DJM mixers and most of their other controllers. Speaking of effects though, something that is new on this Flex 10 is the sound color effects up here. The DDJ 1000 only had 4. This has now got 6, and they are laid out in the 2, 4, 6 sort of stack like that, rather than the 3 and the 3 or the 2 and the 2 that we saw on the DDJ 1000. But this is the way that we now that we saw it on the brand new DJM A9 mixer. So this is obviously where Pioneer DJ are going with the sound color effects on their sort of high-end controllers from going forward from now. While we're down here on the mixer section, actually, just to say about the fader, this is a Magvel Fader 4 sensor system. compared to the DDJ 1000, that was a 2-sensor system. So, you know, the natural progression and improvement on this DDJ FLX-10. Now, as per, you've got 8 performance pads per side. The pad modes are hot cue, pad effects 1, beat jump sampler, and then the secondary pad effects are keyboard, pad effects 2, beat loop, key shift, and then you've got the page here so that you can jump from the different kind of parameters and stuff like that within the software. Of course, the way that this is labeled on this Flex 10, that is what it's labeled in Rekordbox. So this controller for me is kind of firstly made for Rekordbox and then secondly made for Serato. And you can tell that by, you know, the pad modes and stuff. I mean, there will be obviously pad modes to use on Serato, but they won't necessarily be the same pad modes that are actually physically printed on the controller. Actually, another really cool brand new feature on this DDJ FLX-10 is if you hold down the 2 page buttons, then on the in-jog displays, it actually shows you what all of the pads are doing. So if you flick between the different pad modes, you can see here on the screen what each of the performance pads is going to do when you press it. So the pads themselves are, of course, a good size. They're made out of rubber and they are RGB. You know, great to feel. I actually love the feel of the DDJ 1000 pads. So it's nice to have the same quality brought over onto this Flex 10. And the jog wheels are CDJ size jog wheels. I have to say, these don't feel like the CDJ 3000 jog wheels. I think that Pioneer DJ are obviously keeping that. You know, they did a lot of work on the jog wheel for the CDJ 3000, and I do believe that they're keeping that particular jog wheel only for the CDJ 3000. So these feel like the sort of CDJ 2000 Nexus 2 jog wheels. And for those of you who have noticed, there is a different sort of pattern, a different indent around the side of the jogs compared to the old DDJ 1000 and compared to the CDJs. This is the indent that we've seen on all of the FLX controllers. So obviously, you know, keeping in along the same design as they are. As you can see, this Flex 10's got the in-jog displays, which is always good to see, but a standout feature on this Flex 10 is if you hold shift and use the page, you can actually change between the 4 different views of the in-jog display. So as you can see here, this is probably where I would have it, to be fair. You've got the 2 stacked waveforms of the 2 tunes that you're playing. So, you know, this is on channel 1 and channel 2. You can see the 2 stacked waveforms there, which play on top of each other. Then you've also got, this is where the track artwork would be. There isn't any artwork on this particular track that I've currently got loaded. Then this is where you can upload your own logo. You know, we saw this on other sort of CDJs and other controllers and stuff. So that's really nice to have. And then you've got the single waveform view here, which is, you know, just the track that you're playing on this channel. So within the jogs themselves, like the other info, you've obviously got like your BPM, your time remaining, your time elapsed, what tempo you're on, and all that kind of stuff, which deck you're on and all that. Look, I'm not going to go too far into this. I don't know if you can tell, I'm kind of rushing through the sort of simple bits of this controller because I'm dying to talk to you about this new part, separation, and how you can use it to create live mashups while you're DJing. So look, on this Flex 10, there are 4 different ways that you can use your tracks, part separation and all that jazz, right? So the first way is up here in the top left-hand corner. As you can see, drums, vocal, instrumental. This is called the active part. So for example, if I just reel this tune off. So at the moment, we've got all 3 of them on, which is going to play the tune as it is. If I click vocal, that will take the vocal out and we've just got the drums and the instrumental. If I this is just the drums, okay? And then you can obviously combo it. You can have drums and vocal, or just the vocal and the instrumental. Or, you know, when you've got all 3 of them on, then it's obviously playing all 3 of them. Now, the way that I've got this at the moment is in mute mode, right? So when I hit the vocal, it takes the vocal out. You can change that in Rekordbox, where you can have it so it does it the other way round. So you can either have it on mute or solo. That's in your Rekordbox settings. So on mute mode, you know, when I hit vocal, it mutes the vocal, takes it out. Whereas on solo mode, if I hit that vocal mode, it would take the drums and the instrumental out and solo the vocal. Okay, so that's method number one. Method number two, if I just put them all back on again, right? So method number two, I'm gonna go over here, which is part isolation. So under the Q buttons here, obviously the Q buttons are for the headphones, so you can listen to cue up your headphones. So if I hit shift and Q on channel 1, which is what this tune is loaded into, this now turns the EQ into the part isolation. So if I just start the tune, so the low EQ, that is your drums. So if I turn that down, that's now taking the drums out of the tune. The mid EQ, that is the vocal, and then the high, that is the instrumental. So it's complete isolation there. As you can see, I've got them all turned down, so it's taken the whole song out. But if I just want the vocal, I just turn the middle up. Or if I just want the drums, you know, or the beauty of this is like how you EQ a song, you can mix a track down. So if you want, like, if you do want a little bit of everything, but maybe, you know, you don't want the drums to be as loud in the mix, you can just have that halfway down, or, you know, turn your vocal up by turning up the volume that way, or, you know, just like, it's like live mixing in sort of as if you were mixing down in a studio. You know, it's the same kind of deal, but it's the separation of the three different parts, the drums, the vocal, and the instrumental. Now, the third way, and this is probably my favorite, is called the part instant doubles. So we all know how instant doubles works. You know, you double up a tune, it spreads it onto another channel. The way that this part instant doubles works is exactly like that, but instead of moving the whole tune, you can move the different sections of the tune, the drums, the vocal, or the instrumental, across the 4 channels down here. So, right, I've got this tune on channel 1. Okay, so now over here, this is on channel 2. So if I hit shift and I double click drums, then now the drums is on channel 2 on the mixer over here. As you can see, it's taken the drums out of channel 1, which is where the tune was, but I've still got the vocal and the instrumental on channel 1, but just the drums of this song is over on channel 2. So now, if I switch this channel 2 over here to channel 4, then if I hit shift and the instrumental, double click that, now I've got the instrumental over on channel 4. So across 1, 2, and 4, I've got vocals, I've got drums, I've got instrumental. So again, obviously if you've got all 3 of them turned up, then it's playing the whole tune at once. If you've got, you can take the vocal out. It's just so creative. But the best thing about this is spread over the 3 tracks like this, it obviously frees up. You've still got channel 3 here, free. So if I switch over to channel 3, I can then load in another song and I can mix in. Do you know what I mean? So using the 1, 2, and 4, the first tune split up over 1, 2, and 4. I then used my free channel, which was channel 3, to drop in my next tune. Now, I know that might be a little bit confusing and it might seem a bit overwhelming about having all of that going on across the channels, but if you do want to just swap back into the song, you know, without it being split, then of course, so at the moment, so I had the vocal on channel 1 and I had you know, the other 2 elements spread over 2 and 4. You could just have the vocal, but then use the active part bit up here, and then now you're back on the song, you know, the full sort of song with all of the parts back in it again, just by using the active part buttons up here. So it's so easy and it's so, it just unlocks so much creativity, particularly for a DJ like me that loves to do live mashups and stuff like that. I was doing this kind of stuff but I was having to pre-break down my songs into instrumentals and acapellas. And this is before Serato stems, you know, like, especially, I'm just so happy that you can now do this stuff within Rekordbox. So the fourth and final way that you can manipulate the parts in your tracks is, if I just reel this tune off again. So you might have noticed this effect part select over here. What this does is, you've got your effects, you've got your sound color effects, but you can assign them to only play on a certain part of the song. So for example, if I selected just to be on the vocal here, then if I do an echo on channel 1, if you hear, that echo is only being applied to the vocal of this song because that is the part that I've selected up here. So the same applies for the beat effects as well as the sound color effects. So I've only got the vocal on, but I can... So I've got the filter selected here, but because I've only got the vocal effects part selected on here, this color effects filter is only affecting the vocal. How sick is that? I am such a massive fan of that effects part select. You know, they could have just done that for the beat effects, but the fact that you can do it on the sound color effects as well, perfect. So those are the 4 different ways that you can manipulate your tune and mash up your tune using this DDJ FLX-10 and the brand new Rekordbox part manipulation. Look, as I said, this kind of stuff might get a little bit confusing, but something which this DDJ FLX-10 has got, which is a brand new thing for Pioneer DJ bringing it in, is the LED light around the jog wheel actually tells you what it changes color depending on what part you've got active on that channel. So for example, on channel 1 currently, this is the full song. I've got the drums, the vocal and the instrumental all active. So this is a white LED around here. Now, if I just have the instrumental, as you can see, instrumental is red. So it turns red. If I just have the vocal, then the LED around the outside is green. If I just have the drums, then it's blue. So, you know, once, and then if you've got nothing turned on, as you can see there, then actually the LED turns off. But once your brain kind of gets that, you know, then your muscle memory in your brain, your color memory even, you know, you'll start to realize, oh, okay, yeah, if I want to be sort of scratching in the drums, then that's that side because it's blue. And also it's so helpful, particularly when you're doing that part instant doubles and you're, you know, so over here, this is my deck number 4. I know that's the instrumental because it's red, but my deck number 2 is drums because it's blue. And, you know, it just makes it a whole lot less scary when you're doing this kind of mashup mixing. Also, a wicked feature about the actual software itself. So within Rekordbox, when you are changing and taking the different parts out, the waveform actually changes, as you can hopefully see here. So if I take out the instrumental, then, you know, the waveform changes. Take out the vocal, that's just the drums, you know, just the vocal is, you know, a different kind of waveform. The instrumental, that's a different waveform. So, you know, if you're more of a kind of visual mixer and you like looking at the waveforms, then that's a really, really good thing to have in the software. So a couple more of the new standout features on this DDJ FLX-10 is this mix point link for Rekordbox up here. Now, look, it's not complicated, but I don't really want to go too much into this right now. I'm going to do a separate video on this. But what it does is it enables you to create like link points on certain tracks where if the track hits a certain point, then another track will start playing. And I mean, that's crazy enough in itself. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to do a separate video on that feature. And then finally, this DDJ FLX-10 has got a DMX out on the back of it. So for those of you who know already, Rekordbox has actually got a function called Rekordbox Lighting, which basically within the Rekordbox software, it analyzes the songs, it figures out where the breakdowns are and where the drops are and stuff like that, and then it controls your lights to go with whichever song you're playing. I was using it, but you needed an RB-DMX1. This DDJ FLX-10 has now sacked off the need for that RB-DMX1 box. You can connect your lights directly into the controller here and then obviously Rekordbox lighting within Rekordbox, should I say, will control the lights. So, you know, absolutely brilliant for mobile DJs or for streaming or whatever, you know, having your lights go completely in time with whichever song you're playing, but also it's a different show for every single song. It's like an individual movement for every single song. And the reason why I loved using Rekordbox lighting with the RB-DMX1 box is because it's not quite, it's better than sound to light, but it's not quite as complicated as DMXing a whole light show. So wicked feature and great to have that in this brand new DDJ FLX-10. So while we are on the back then, let's just talk about the ins and outs. So it's got two master outs. The one is an XLR and one is an RCA. The booth out is of course a 1/4" jack. Then you've got your 4 channels there. The channel 2 and channel 1 are line inputs, and the channel 4 and channel 3 are combi inputs. So obviously if you are using external turntables or CDJs on this thing, CDJs can go in any of the 4 channels, but turntables, you are limited to channels 3 and the 4 because that has got the phono line switch. So of course you've got this, the grounding cable signal screw thingy there to make your turntables sound nice and lovely. Then you've got the DMX output that I said there. Now on this DDJ FLX-10, you do have 2 USB inputs, you know, perfect for back-to-backs as I always say, but on this FLX-10, they are both USB-C. We've seen USB-C slowly being introduced by Pioneer DJ across some of the other controllers and on the new DJM mixer. So that was kind of expected on this FLX-10. And then finally, this controller has got 2 microphone inputs. One of them is an XLR combi and the other one is a 1/4" jack. And real quick one on the microphones then. So the mic control is down here where we saw it in the DDJ 1000. You've got level control 1 and 2, and then you've got 2 band EQ, turning the mic on, and then whether or not you want the talk over. Headphones wise, this has got both 1/4" jack and 3.5 mil headphone inputs on the front of the controller. And as you can see, there's quite a nice little sort of design with this indent going all the way around the controller, which I'm digging. So to conclude then, guys, this brand new Pioneer DJ DDJ FLX-10, this is what I've been waiting for, to be honest. Not just the controller itself. I mean, I do have a DDJ 1000, which I've been using for the past, 5 years or whatever it is. 2018 it came out. And that's my go-to when I do mobile stuff, you know, or whatever. But it's not just this upgrade, which is, this is what needed to happen, right? In terms of this replacing the DDJ 1000. But the thing that I am most excited about this is obviously the Rekordbox's version of stems. So this part separation and the part isolation and all that stuff. The only thing which I am dreading is that this feature, their version of stems is only going to be available on this DDJ FLX-10. I am praying that this is going to be within the software that you're going to be able to map to older controllers and mixers and stuff like that, because I need this on my DJM S11. I need it on my S9. I need it on every Rekordbox controller that I've been using over the past few years. I know that mappable, you're not going to have these physical buttons here, which is the great thing about this FLX-10 is the workflow and the 4 different ways that you can be manipulating your tunes using these part sort of sections and stuff like that. But, you know, yeah, it needs to be mappable within Rekordbox. Anyway, look, I'm going to leave it there. Guys, let me know what you're thinking about this DDJ FLX-10. What do you think of this part separation and, like, you know, drums, vocal, instrumental? Obviously, in Serato, you've got the 4 ways to chop your stems up. So you've got, I think, drums, bass, melody, and vocal. Rekordbox answer is only 3. I love it, personally. I absolutely love it. But let me know in the comments, you know, what you're thinking. Let me know about the whether or not you would use the DMX out. Is that something that you're using already? Are you happy to see that on this DDJ FLX-10? Guys, as always, remember to like the video, subscribe to the DJKit YouTube channel, and send this to anyone who you think might be interested. I'm going to leave it there. I want to get back onto having a mix on this. Keep your eye in the comments for my head-to-head comparison with this and the DDJ 1000. And until next time, you take care out there. Peace.